The Grand Council of the Galactic Empire gathered inside a massive hall of crystal and steel. It was a place where stars could be seen through transparent walls, shining like jewels across the blackness of space. Admirals in decorated uniforms, governors in long robes, and lords of powerful houses all filled the chamber. They spoke in loud voices, each one trying to show confidence and authority. The topic of the day was a small blue planet located at the edge of the galaxy. Its name was Earth. "Another primitive world," said Admiral Valor, leaning back in his shining chair. His long fingers tapped the armrest lazily. "It is nothing more than a ball of water and dirt. Its people are soft creatures unfit for war." Laughter followed. Many agreed. Some even joked that one Imperial Legion would be enough to conquer the entire planet in a single campaign. The Council had fought many wars and crushed countless species. To them, Earth was just another name, another step in their endless march of conquest. But not everyone laughed. At one side of the chamber, a figure stood silent. His armor was old, dented, and scratched, but it carried honor greater than gold. His skin was marked with deep scars, and one of his eyes had been replaced with a glowing implant. He was General Kalor, a veteran of wars older than some of the council members. When the noise settled, Kalor spoke. His voice was low, rough, and steady. "You make a mistake," he said. "I have faced the humans of Earth. They are not as weak as you believe." The hall went silent for a moment, but then the laughter returned, though softer this time. "General," said Governor Altheon, his voice sharp and mocking, "are you telling us you fear these fragile apes? Look at their records. Their ships are primitive, their technology centuries behind ours. Their armies are divided into nations. How can they stand against the power of the Empire?" Kalor's one good eye narrowed. He took a deep breath before answering. "Because they fight in a way no other species fights," he said. "I commanded soldiers during the Pharaon Frontier War, when we first crossed paths with them. My division was ordered to secure a resource-rich system. We expected no real trouble. What we found were human troops already there, sent as part of an exploration fleet. They had only a few ships, and their weapons were crude compared to ours. We thought victory would be simple." He paused, his hands tightening into fists. The room seemed colder as he spoke. But the humans did not fight like the others we had conquered. When one of their soldiers fell, another stepped forward. When we destroyed their supply lines, they lived off the land. When we destroyed their camps, they built new ones in caves and ruins and forests. They turned every place into a battlefield. I saw them fight in the freezing mountains with nothing but scraps of clothing. And still they kept coming. I saw them crawl through mud for days just to strike once at our lines. Their minds are different. They find a way to fight even when logic says they should lose. Some of the council members shifted in their seats. A few looked uncomfortable, but Admiral Valor only smirked. "Stories," Valor said. "Old war stories. Every veteran has them. You make humans sound like monsters, but in the end they are only flesh and blood like all others." Kalor's voice rose, full of steel. "No, they are not like others. I saw a group of humans fight until the last breath, though they could have retreated. I watched them destroy their own ship rather than let us capture it. They will endure pain that would break most species, and when they stand together, when their hearts are set on survival, they become unstoppable." The hall grew quiet again. For a moment, even the most arrogant admirals hesitated. They could see Kalor's scars, hear the weight of his words, and feel the truth inside them. But pride is strong in the halls of power. "They are still nothing compared to the Empire," another governor said quickly, trying to push away the tension.
"Even if they fight bravely, they cannot stand against us."
"Our fleets number in the thousands. Our weapons burn cities from orbit. Do you truly believe Earth could resist that?" Kalor stared at him with his one eye cold and sharp as a blade. "Yes," he said simply. "If you strike them, you will regret it. You think you know war, but humans live it. On their world, they have fought themselves for centuries. Their history is filled with wars, great and small. They have fought on land, in the air, across seas, and even in space. They never stop preparing for conflict. Every generation, they grow sharper. Every battle, they learn. They will not kneel. They will bleed, they will burn, but they will never bow." For the first time, the laughter stopped completely. The silence stretched across the chamber. Some of the younger officers avoided looking at the veteran. But Admiral Valor, too proud to admit fear, slammed his hand on the table. "Enough," he said. "You let your memories blind you. The humans may be brave, but bravery does not stop orbital cannons. Courage does not shield them from plasma fire. They are just another species in our path, and the Empire will crush them as it always has. The council cheered in agreement, eager to silence the doubt. Voices rose again, filled with arrogance and pride. Plans for invasion were made and orders were given. Kalor watched them all with a heavy heart. He had seen this pride before, and he knew where it led. Slowly he stood from his seat. The scars on his body glowed faintly in the light as he turned toward the great doors of the chamber. "Laugh if you wish," he said, his voice carrying across the hall. "But remember this moment when your fleets burn. Remember this when your soldiers do not return. I have faced Earth's warriors, and I know what they are. They are the storm you cannot control. And when the storm rises, it will sweep the Empire away." He walked out, leaving the council in stunned silence. The admirals soon returned to their boasting, dismissing his words as the ramblings of an old soldier. But in the shadows of the chamber, a few young officers whispered among themselves, unease growing in their hearts. Far away on the small blue planet called Earth, preparations had already begun. The storm was waiting. Word count 1010, approx. The great fleet of the Galactic Empire moved through space like a river of fire. Thousands of ships, each larger than cities, glided toward the small blue planet at the edge of the spiral arm. Earth hung there, beautiful and silent, wrapped in oceans, clouds, and green lands. Inside the fleet's command ship, Admiral Valor stood proud. He watched the planet grow larger on the screens. Around him, officers barked reports scanning Earth's defenses. "Primitive satellites," one officer said with a laugh. "Old missiles. They barely have warships. Their space technology is more than a century behind us." Valor smiled. "Then this will be easy. We shall demand their surrender, and if they refuse, we will show them the fire of the Empire." The Admiral's words spread through the fleet. The Empire expected Earth to bend quickly, as so many others had before. But on Earth, leaders had already gathered. In a great hall beneath the United Nations flag, presidents, generals, and commanders from across the world sat at one long table. For centuries, humans had fought each other, divided by nations and old rivalries. But this time was different. This time, the enemy was not one country against another. The enemy was from the stars. General Carter, an older man with a sharp gaze, spoke firmly. "We cannot surrender. If we bow today, our children will never know freedom. The Empire will turn us into slaves or worse. We must fight." Some leaders hesitated. They saw the size of the alien fleet, the power of their weapons. "How can we win?" one asked. "Their technology is far beyond ours." But Carter shook his head. "We will win the way we always have, by refusing to give up. We will adapt. We will use their strength against them. We will fight on every front, land, sea, air, and space. This is humanity's home. We have no choice but to defend it." There was silence. Then, one by one, the leaders agreed. Old enemies shook hands. Nations that once distrusted each other signed their names side by side. For the first time in history, Earth stood united. The first message from the Empire came soon after. A giant holographic projection appeared in Earth's orbit. Admiral Valor's image filled the skies of major cities. His voice thundered across languages, translated by Earth systems. "People of Earth," he declared, "you stand before the power of the Galactic Empire. Surrender your planet and you will be spared. Resist and you will face destruction beyond your imagination." The people of Earth watched in silence. Some trembled. Others clenched their fists. In New York, in Beijing, in Moscow, in Nairobi, and countless other cities, millions stared at the alien's face. Then the reply came. A single broadcast sent from the United Nations echoed across the stars. "This is Earth," General Carter said. "We do not surrender. If you come, we will fight. And if you destroy us, then know this: we will never forgive and we will never forget. Humanity does not bow." The words traveled into space, and for the first time Admiral Valor frowned. The Empire struck first. Dozens of ships fired beams of plasma, burning through Earth's satellites and space stations. Explosions lit up the skies. Cities trembled as falling debris rained down. The invasion had begun, but humans did not sit still. Within hours, nations launched every rocket they had. Old missiles built for wars between nations now flew upward to meet alien ships. Most were destroyed before reaching their targets, but some found their mark. A great cheer rose when the first alien cruiser exploded in the upper atmosphere, breaking into burning fragments. On the ground, soldiers prepared. Bases were turned into fortresses. Civilians dug shelters and carried supplies. In the forests, deserts, and mountains, resistance networks formed. Humanity's long history of war became its strength. Every tactic learned over centuries, ambushes, sabotage, hit-and-run strikes, was revived. The first true ground battle came in the ruins of Paris. Alien troops landed in shining armor, their weapons humming with deadly light. They marched with precision, expecting to face frightened crowds. Instead, they met soldiers and civilians fighting side by side. Humans used sniper rifles from rooftops. They planted mines under roads. They hacked into alien communication signals and sent false orders, leading enemy patrols into traps. The aliens were shocked. "They are undisciplined," one commander reported. "But they fight with madness. They fight when they should run." General Calor, watching the reports from afar, shook his head. "Not madness," he whispered. "Determination." Weeks passed. The Empire tried to push harder. They burned cities with orbital strikes, hoping to break Earth's will. But every city destroyed gave rise to 10 new resistance groups. In the jungles of South America, fighters brought down alien dropships with nothing but stolen weapons. In the deserts of Africa, tribes that once fought each other now fought together, striking alien convoys. In Europe, underground tunnels became fortresses, where human fighters launched surprise attacks. Even the oceans became battlegrounds. Submarines launched missiles at alien ships above. Fishing boats carried soldiers under cover of night, striking at coastal landing sites. The entire planet became a weapon. Inside the Empire's fleet, confusion spread. Officers could not understand how humans survived. Their strategies made no sense by galactic standards. Where other species surrendered quickly, humans grew fiercer. Where defeat should have broken them, it only united them further. Reports piled up. Enemy soldiers are using our own weapons against us. Civilian populations are attacking supply lines. Human units are coordinating across continents without central. Command Admiral Valor raged at his officers. "They are primitives. They cannot win. Crush them." But deep inside, doubt began to grow. On Earth, General Carter stood in a bunker filled with maps and screens. His face was tired, but his eyes burned with resolve. "They underestimate us," he told his commanders. "That is their weakness. Every time they strike harder, we will strike smarter. Every time they think we are finished, we will rise again. Humanity has fought wars for thousands of years. This is just another one, and this time we fight for everything." Around him, soldiers nodded. None thought the war would be easy. But every man and woman in that bunker believed in one truth. Humanity would not fall quietly. The battle for Earth had only just begun. The war for Earth reached its darkest days. The Galactic Empire grew impatient, pouring more ships and soldiers into the fight. Entire fleets hung above the planet, their shadows stretching across oceans and continents. Cities were scarred, skies filled with smoke, and yet humanity fought on. Admiral Valor believed the final strike would crush human resistance. From the bridge of his command ship, he ordered the full invasion. "No more half measures," he said coldly. "Burn their defenses. Break their armies. Force them to kneel." Thousands of landing crafts dropped through the atmosphere like falling stars. Armored soldiers marched in endless rows, their weapons glowing with energy. The Empire thought the end was near, but on Earth something had changed. Humanity was no longer fighting as divided nations. They were fighting as one people. Generals from across the world had joined together under a single command. Scientists worked night and day to study captured alien weapons. Engineers learned how to disable alien shields and power cores. Every battle, every loss, every drop of blood had taught them something new. Humanity had adapted. The first sign of this new strength came in the skies above the Pacific. Alien ships descended to destroy a fleet of human carriers. The humans, instead of running, launched swarms of drones, cheap machines built in secret factories. The drones moved like a storm of insects, confusing enemy sensors. While the aliens tried to track them, hidden submarines surfaced and fired missiles. 2 alien ships exploded in flames, and cheers rose across the human fleet. On land, the resistance grew deadlier. In the ruins of Berlin, human fighters lured an entire alien battalion into an empty district. As the aliens marched proudly, the streets exploded beneath them, mines planted days before. From windows and rooftops, humans attacked from every side. The aliens fought back, but their discipline failed when their communications were jammed. By the time their commanders realized the trap, it was too late. Across the world, the same story unfolded. Small groups of humans defeating larger alien forces with clever tactics. Courage and unity. Inside the Empire's fleet, panic began to spread. Reports arrived faster than they could be. Explained, enemy has captured our supply depots. Human strike teams have boarded 2 of our cruisers. Civilian populations are turning our landing zones into death traps. Admiral Valor slammed his hand against the table. This is impossible. They are primitives. But General Kalor, watching from the council chamber far away, shook his head. He had warned them. Now the truth was clear to all. The turning point of the war came during the Battle of the Atlantic. The Empire sent its largest flagship, the Imperious Dawn, to lead the attack. It was a vessel larger than any city, bristling with weapons that could shatter mountains. Valor himself stood aboard, certain of victory, but humanity had prepared. Using stolen alien codes, a small team of human commandos launched a desperate mission. They boarded the Imperious Dawn in the middle of the battle, sneaking through maintenance shafts and tunnels. These soldiers were not the strongest or most advanced. They carried only basic gear, patched with scavenged alien tech. But they carried something more important than weapons: resolve. For hours, the commandos fought through the corridors of the great ship. Every step forward cost them dearly, but they refused to stop. Finally, they reached the core systems. With a final surge, they disabled the flagship's control center. On the battlefield below, alien ships suddenly froze. Their commands cut off, their formations broke. Human fleets moved in, striking with everything they had. The sky lit with fire as alien ships exploded one after another. The Imperious Dawn, once a symbol of power, fell burning into the ocean. The Empire's fleet retreated. For the first time in history, the unstoppable had been stopped. All across the galaxy, whispers spread. Merchants, spies, and travelers carried the story. The humans of Earth, once dismissed as weak and fragile, had forced the Empire to flee. Other species, long oppressed, began to hope. If Earth could resist, perhaps others could too. Inside the Empire's council hall, silence ruled. Admirals and governors who once laughed at Kalor now sat pale and shaken. Their eyes no longer burned with pride, but with fear. Kalor entered slowly, leaning on his scarred staff. His one good eye glowed faintly in the dim light. "You did not listen," he said quietly. "I warned you what humans were. They are not prey. They are predators. They are the storm that cannot be stopped. You thought them weak, but their weakness was only the mask of their strength. You thought them divided, but war made them one. And now they know your weakness. They will never forget this war." No one answered him. The silence was heavy with shame. On Earth, the people mourned their dead, but they also celebrated their survival. Cities began to rebuild. Nations that had once stood apart promised never to turn against each other again. They had fought together, and together they had won. General Carter stood before a crowd in New York, his uniform torn but his voice strong. "We stood against an empire that thought itself invincible," he declared. "And we proved that humanity cannot be broken. Let this day be remembered, not only as the day we defended our home, but as the day we showed the galaxy who we are. We are Earth, we are human, and we do not bow." The crowd roared with pride. For the first time, the galaxy's attention turned toward Earth. Not with pity, not with scorn, but with respect. Far away, General Kalor watched the news of Earth's victory on a private screen. A faint smile crossed his scarred face. "They will come again," he whispered to himself. "The Empire will not forget this shame. But when they return, they will face not the same Earth, but one even stronger." He leaned back, closing his eye. For all his years of war, he had never seen a species like humanity. And he knew one truth more than any other: the galaxy had changed forever, because the humans had stood. Because the humans had fought. Because the humans had won.